Hello everybody, and welcome to another CyberMD lecture. Today's topic is cardiovascular autoregulation. This is an essential concept to understand for the Step 1 exam. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our content so that we can continue to provide free medical education resources to students around the world. Let's get started. Cardiovascular autoregulation is the ability of an organ or tissue to maintain a relatively constant blood flow despite changes in perfusion pressure. Again, it's the ability of an organ or tissue to maintain a constant blood flow despite changes in perfusion pressure. The autoregulatory mechanism is an essential physiological process in the human body that helps maintain optimal organ and tissue function. Let's start with autoregulation in the lungs. In the lungs, the blood vessels constrict or dilate in response to changes in oxygen levels. When there is a decrease in oxygen levels, the pulmonary blood vessels constrict to redirect blood flow to areas of the lung that have better oxygenation. When there is an increase in oxygen levels, the pulmonary blood vessels dilate to increase blood flow to areas of that lung so that oxygen can be optimized. Keep in mind that it's typically the opposite of this for the rest of your body. In the heart, autoregulation ensures that the myocardial blood flow, again, remains constant despite possible changes that may occur in perfusion pressure. The coronary blood vessels dilate or constrict to ensure that the heart receives an adequate supply of oxygen and nutrients, and it does so in response to nitric oxide, carbon dioxide, and oxygen levels. You can see on the slide that vasodilation is going to occur secondary to increased levels of nitric oxide, increased levels of CO2, or decreased levels of O2. The brain also has an autoregulatory mechanism that helps maintain a constant blood flow despite changes in blood pressure. The cerebral blood vessels constrict or dilate to regulate the blood flow to the brain. This is essential to prevent cerebral hypoperfusion or hypertension. Autoregulation in the brain is dependent upon CO2 and pH levels. Remember from our prior lecture on chemoreceptors that is not really responsive to O2 levels. In the kidneys, autoregulation helps maintain a constant GFR, or glomerular filtration rate. The afferent arterioles of the kidney constrict or dilate to regulate the blood flow to the glomerulus. This process helps maintain an adequate filtration rate despite the changes that are happening in blood pressure. The myogenic mechanism is based on the ability of smooth muscle cells in the walls of the afferent arterioles, the small arteries that supply blood to the glomeruli in the kidneys, to contract or relax in response to those changes in blood pressure. When blood pressure increases, the afferent arterioles stretch, activating a specific stretch-sensitive ion channel that results in afferent arterial smooth muscle constriction to limit the amount of blood flowing into the glomerulus, thereby preventing the glomerular capillaries from being subjected to excessive pressures. The other mechanism in the kidneys, the tubuloglomerular feedback mechanism, is feedback that occurs secondary to information at a structure known as the juxtaglomerular apparatus, also known as the JGA. Inside the JGA, there's a specialized group of cells called the macula densa that exist where the renal tubule contacts both the afferent and efferent arterioles. Increased serum sodium concentration is sensed by the macula densa and causes the afferent arteriole to constrict, keeping the GFR down and within a normal range. Additionally, granule cells in the JGA will sense this and release renin, triggering the renin-aldosterone-angiotensin system, a more long-term solution for autoregulation that will be covered in a separate video. Autoregulation in skeletal muscle helps maintain constant blood flow, again despite changes in blood pressure. The skeletal muscle blood vessels dilate or constrict to ensure that the muscle receives the adequate oxygen levels and nutrients that it needs to stay healthy. It's a reaction to local metabolites that can be remembered using the CHALK mnemonic, where C stands for increased CO2 causing vasodilation, the H standing for H plus or acidosis, so a decrease in pH causing vasodilation, the A standing for adenosine, which is a drug that is sometimes pushed into patients during certain cardiovascular compromised situations. That can cause vasodilation. Increased lactate, as seen in exercise, can cause vasodilation. And potassium levels may cause vasodilation if there's an increase in potassium as a local metabolite. So that's an easy way to remember autoregulation factors in skeletal muscle. Finally, in the skin, autoregulation regulates the blood flow to our hair and our skin in order to help with thermoregulation. The blood vessels in the skin constrict or dilate so that they will regulate the body's temperature. They do so in response to sympathetic innervation, which allows for rapid constriction or dilation as the body needs to control its temperature. In conclusion, cardiovascular autoregulation and other forms of autoregulation, such as that seen as the brain, the lungs, kidneys, skeletal muscle, and skin, are all really important physiologic processes that help us to maintain optimal organ and tissue function. Understanding how these forms of autoregulation work in different organs and tissues is an important concept to understand and master when studying the cardiovascular system. Please don't hesitate to contact us with any questions or concerns. Good luck with your Step 1 exam preparation or your cardiovascular unit. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe so that we can continue to provide free medical education resources to students around the world.